right, it is Monday, March 23rd, 2026. I'm heading back from my dad's house to my mom's after having a nice night of work alongside my dad. And I'm really just feeling a lot of gratitude that I get to come home and hang out with both of my parents, even if it's separate. I think if anything, it's brought my dad and I closer together because we get time where it's just the two of us. And as I start and continue to grow Brand Sharks, we obviously are managing more people internally as part of the team, and it gives my dad and I something to bond over because he's been a manager at his company for now 30 years. He celebrated just this past week was his 30-year anniversary at work. So the more managerial things that I run into, we're able to sort of bond over it and talk about work. And he, I can tell he appreciates a lot of quantity of time spent with loved ones, and it works out well because I'll go over and just work. Today was Monday, was able to put in a lot of calls back to back, block them together, so we didn't miss any valuable time with family. I'll touch on that in a second, but afterwards, I had some work that had piled up, and we just kind of sat at the table together. He was putting together a presentation that he had to give later this week, and I was working on just catching up on some work that had piled up over the Monday, and then took a call with my advisor for the acquisition.com event that we're going to on Friday. But overall, I do think that there's a meta concept here of not necessarily needing to perfect everything on the first try, but really being okay with iterations. And what I mean by that in this sense is when I came home for Thanksgiving was the first time I had been home after seeing a bit of success with Brand Sharks. And I define success subjectively, financially successful with Brand Sharks. And I totally fucked up being home for Thanksgiving. I had so much work I had to do. I didn't hang out with anybody, had no time really to spend with family. And the time I did have, which was actual Thanksgiving Day, I went over to my dad's house after the turkey trot in the morning, and I fell asleep while I was there. And then I felt super bad. I went over to my mom's house, and we had family over there, and after hanging out for a little bit, I also fell asleep there. So it was just really embarrassing, and it was kind of a big damage to the way that I felt about myself. And I had this big kind of tough instance of is this what life is as a business owner? Do you simply have to sacrifice family in order to have a good existence? And then Christmas was a little bit better. I still had work that I had to do. I wasn't feeling very productive. I was delaying tasks. It was a little bit harder because everybody was home all the time. So it always felt like any work that I was doing, I was taking away time with family. And this time around, Sunday, I took totally off. I would just answer my inbox, which is pretty light on Sundays. And then hung out with my dad, went out to dinner with him. Hung out with my brother, went out to breakfast with him and my mom, and then watched a movie with my mom at night. So I was able to be really present. And then today, Monday, my mom was at work, my dad was at work. I worked in the beginning of the day, and then my mom and I ate dinner, and I went over to my dad's afterwards, and we got to work a little bit, which is our good fun time together. I enjoy getting to spend time that way. So what I mean, go back to iterations, is being okay with the fact that I'm not perfect at this yet, and this is a new unexplored part of my brain and conscious, is being having that emotional side of the brain around and being able to connect with people. Was one of the things that, if you watch the video, I talk about getting hypnotized, was something that we had worked on together, which the belief that I had adopted as a kid was the more successful you get, the less love you can give and receive, or mainly receive, and being able to just overcome that with reps. And just this is reps. So overall, feeling good about the trip. Tomorrow morning, meeting up with one of my childhood friends in the morning. We've done some business together, been on sales and offers together. I've dragged him into a couple of the schemes that I have lost a lot of money in together. Really good guy. So always good catching up when we're home. So we're going to meet up a little before 7 tomorrow morning, and then going to go out to breakfast with my aunt afterwards. We'll do 2 breakfasts tomorrow, and then just handle all my work on the plane. Just get Wi-Fi on the plane and just be really where my feet are. And I think this was a trip that I had done that better than any of the other ones so far. So definitely not perfect. There were still some like connection pieces I think that I'd missed, but it's just taking note of each time and how it goes and improving for next time. I think that's really all we can do. But what inspired this more of like a sappy video, you could say, was I posted a photo on my story of my dad and I, where just like working, like he had snapped a selfie of us while I was working, and he had his computer open and stuff. And I just posted that photo on my story, and I said like, putting in work with dad. And one of my friends who recently lost his father swiped up on my story and was like, dude, cherish the time together. And it put it into perspective. Was like he wasn't expecting to wake up one day and lose his dad. Like no one does. So really like telling people that you appreciate them. So I read his message, my friend Tim. I read his message that said that, and I turned around because I read his message while I was walking out of my dad's apartment. And I turned around and just let him know. I said, hey, I really appreciate the time together, and I really appreciate the fact that we've gotten closer over the past couple of years. And I just said that out loud, and it was really good. I could tell he appreciated it, and yeah, it was good stuff. So tell the people you love them today. Give a genuine compliment. Say what's on your heart, because you never know how long you got. So overall, good Monday. Overall, good trip home. And I will be flying to San Diego tomorrow, and I'll be checking in from there next time. See you there.